Okay, so let's pause this before we go any further. For those of you who've been watching my videos, you'll know that I have a couple of old Macs laying around the house, and this is the next one I wanted to get up and running. As you can probably guess, it's a polycarbonate MacBook. I'm not too sure what the exact model is, because I believe that it's already been taken apart before, and it's sort of like this mishmash of all kinds of Apple parts that have to do with the polycarbonate line. But anyway, I believe it's a 2009 MacBook, and I'll get into more about how I might guess that later on. But the original plan for this computer was to fix it up, get it running, have it boot into 10.11, because from what I've read online, the 2009 up polycarbonate MacBooks are able to do so, and give it to my little sister as a secondary computer for her to practice her coding with. Before I was even going to attempt any of this, I had to get the computer to actually power on and take a charge. The first thing that you want to check if your magsafe equipped Mac is not charging, or actually any computer for that matter, is to make sure that the charge connector is clean and clear. The best way to do this with a magsafe connector is with some alcohol, some Q-tips, and maybe some tweezers if your Mac is really that dirty. Mine wasn't too bad, so the alcohol and Q-tips will do. Just add some alcohol to the Q-tips and try to get as much of the dirt and grime out of the MagSafe connector surface as you can. And now for the big test. And the big disappointment. So if you get to this step, you might want to try and reset the SMC. That might fix your problem. It didn't fix mine, I had to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to leave some links in the description below on how to reset the SMC for your particular computer. Just because I did do the SMC reset and I didn't have the camera rolling at the time, and it's going to make more sense if you read it off the official Apple website than have me try and explain it to you again. Now the next step for this Apple computer was the actual MagSafe connector itself. I used what was an 85 watt power adapter that I used for my 17-inch MacBook Pro. This computer is a 13-inch MacBook, meaning it uses a 60 watt power adapter. So I actually went out and bought the correct power adapter, which cost me about 80 bucks. At this point I was still getting the same dim green light that I was getting earlier with my 85 watt power adapter, so I tried to turn this computer on and nothing happened. So at this point I decided to move on and actually start troubleshooting some other culprits, if you may. Okay, so I did some research online, and it turns out that some people on the internet are saying that this particular kind of MacBook will actually not run without a battery. So I ordered one on Amazon. It was about 17 bucks, came in the mail today, and it's got about 2/5 of a charge. So I'm gonna pop this in here and see if it works. Actually, installing this battery into this MacBook took a lot longer than I expected it to. So as I struggle, I'm going to explain something to you. If you have a unibody MacBook computer, what you want to try and do at this point is take off the lower cover of the MacBook and disconnect the battery connector from the actual motherboard. There's some people online who will explain it a lot better than I can. Just look up removing battery connector from motherboard unibody MacBook and tons of videos will pop up. But that's going to be your culprit if you have a computer that does not have a removable battery. What'll happen sometimes, the connector will be loose or something will happen, dust will come in, or I don't know what it could be. But oftentimes actually just removing the connector and replacing the connector to the motherboard for your internal battery will solve your problem. So you want to do that before you go any further. Let's see if this guy boots up. Let's at least see the power cable that lights up any cord. Still get some dim green. Okay, let's try plan B. So it looks like the logic board could actually be dead on this computer. I hope that's not the case. Now, plan B is going to be to remove the battery again and to double check to make sure that the connectors are actually making a solid connection with the battery itself. So what you want to do that, just take a screwdriver and begin to bend the connectors a little bit to either side. This will make sure the connectors are getting a good solid connection between the battery and the actual pins. So just bend the pins ever so slightly so that it'll still fit into the battery. And let's try again. There's gotta be something else. Now my next option is going to be to open up this MacBook even further and check all the little connectors inside the actual computer itself. Like the connector that connects the MagSafe cable to the logic board and the connector that connects the battery to the logic board as well. Ooh, it's a lot of corrosion right here. Look at that. This guy's definitely been wet before. What I was just holding in my hand was the MagSafe port. It's not looking too good so far. I took the battery connector off as well, and it was also looking quite corroded. At this point I just began to pull everything apart to see the actual state of the logic board. What I ended up discovering, well, you'll see in a minute. As you can see, both the logic board and the computer itself have heavy corrosion underneath. This computer has clearly been wet, and it's been sitting wet for quite some time. I began to clean out the logic board using some alcohol and Q-tips. It did not work. The further I got on through the actual cleaning process, the more I realized just how bad the damage was. In the end, this logic board is non-repairable, and at this point I'm gonna have to put this computer project on pause because it's just too far gone. There's really nothing I can do. I was looking online for a comparable 2009 logic boards for this computer, and I think I might be able to get one for under $50, maybe in the low $45-$30 range. If that's the case, I'm gonna post a new video when I get the logic board in, and then I'll be able to get it up and running. So if you want to see more about this computer, just hit subscribe. If you like the video, hit like. Do whatever you do on the internet, and catch you later. Also, I'm just gonna let the rest of this video just play out, so enjoy footage of me cleaning a water damaged logic board.